Good morning, everybody. I'm Angela Hughes, a luxury travel entrepreneur, and we are back with our summer series, and we're kicking it off with Janine Cifelli of Janine Cifelli Representation, who has all of the beautiful properties around the world. And I've been trying for months to connect with her and get her on this show, and we're finally doing it today, despite all of our technical issues the last couple of weeks. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. We just turned 16. We are sweet 16. We forgot to say something about that, but we are sweet 16. And I've always been on this side of the industry. So I know there's so many people that get into the representation firm coming from different avenues, but my 30 some odd years in the industry, I didn't want to say exactly how much, has always been on the rep side. So I think that kind of gives us an unusual footing in this space. But so we love representing. We love being the extension of our hotel sales teams and bringing forward amazing places, islands, technologies, whatever it is, to the travel advisor community and educating them. It's really
okay. So let's break this down, because we often have a lot of new advisors come to this page as well, where they don't understand what a representation company is versus a BDM versus the hotel direct, and how that kind of works together. And so they're thinking, oh, what does representation mean, really?
Right. And it's such a great question. And it's something we do in every presentation we ever give. We talk about how to use a rep firm, why a rep firm. Essentially, we are an extension of a hotel sales team. So when a new travel advisor is coming into play and they want to reach out, and let's say there's a time difference, well, they can call us. We're based in the US. We have somebody on the West Coast. We have people on the East Coast, and they can reach us. There's not a language barrier. There's not a time barrier. We'll maintain image galleries. Basically, our goal is to make the life of an advisor easier. So how do we do that? We educate them, we give them imagery, we meet them for a coffee, we build a relationship, we build a trust and a confidence. So we're kind of their secret weapon, and they can call on us for the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, for sure. We deal with tracking commissions. We deal with, my clients are at the hotel right now and they don't like their room. What can we do? And we're that way of them having someone here that can be their spokesperson. So a rep can take on a lot of different purposes. We don't really take reservations, but we will always connect them with the right people. So if a travel advisor thinks to start with us, we also listen intently, and we can guide them to the right property and the right technologies and the right private islands. But we're not afraid to say, oh, thanks for calling. That doesn't really fit what we have.
Right. Okay. So how many properties and brands are you representing right now?
Yeah.
Or do you even know?
We do. We have 2 travel technologies meant to make the life of an advisor easier. We have 3 destination management companies, 1 for St. Bart's and Anguilla, 1 for Iceland, and 1 for family-friendly travel throughout Europe. And then we have...
let's stop with that one for just a minute, because I kind of want to talk about a few of these. I took a deep dive into your portfolio the other day, and that family-friendly Europe was just jumped at me, because that is kind of a missing piece in the DMC business. I feel like just a company that's like focused on family travel. So let's talk about that DMC for just a minute.
Sure. So they are called Family Twist. And their unique selling point is really diving into the psychology of traveling with kids. And our owner, Magali, she has children. She was doing this sort of thing for family and friends and curating experiences to keep kids involved, devices down, really diving into what the culture was, what it was they were looking at on a simpler but more fun level. And what they did was she turned this into a business. And so they stay in their lane. They operate in 7 European countries across 16 European cities. And if they don't have that city, they'll say, oh, sorry, we don't operate in that city. So, a good example would be like Puglia. They're not in Puglia, but they're in Naples and the Amalfi Coast, for example, and Venice and Rome and Florence, but not in Puglia. So they're very good at saying where they're good at. Like they were in Dublin and it wasn't going well, so now they're not there anymore. And they might be back at some point. But they'll work with guides that also have the kids in mind. So instead of talking down to a child, they're sitting down with the child. Instead of booking family tolerant hotels, they understand what a family friendly hotel is and means to the family. So they just kind of dive into it differently. They believe that there should be a hands-on component. Kids get bored easily. So maybe in the morning, if they're touring, then there's a hands-on component in the afternoon where they're making a macaroon. And I'm giving simple things that maybe other companies have access to as well. But Family Twist just has really tried to take it a step further, making their engagement materials based on the involvement of what the age of that child is.
Okay. First of all, I want to welcome some of the people watching here. Michelle in Florida, Tatiana in Moldova, Karen in Georgia. I am so blind. I think it's Shauna in Ottawa. Welcome. So people are just jumping on now. Okay, so let's go on. So you've got 3 DMCs, 2 tech companies, and we'll talk a little bit about them in a minute. So, and then what do you have?
And then we have a variety of private islands, hotels, hotel collections. We have a few that, and what I mean by that is multiples. So our Greece partner, Katikia's in Mykonos and Santorini, there's 5 properties. White Elephant Resorts, Nantucket and Palm Beach. There's Myriad hotels and properties. So we do have some multiples. Saniva, where you were, and I know we're going to talk about that. They have 3. So we do have clients, and the Safari Collection in Kenya, they've got 5. So we have, I think,
and I went through your collection. I was like dying because I'm like, geez, I've stayed at most of these, had no idea, never had met you. And why didn't I know you? I don't know.
I know. Sometimes it happens. It's a big wide world.
I know. It's fate now because I looked through it. Honestly, I looked through it and then I freaked out a little bit. I was like, whoa, you're carrying like so many great properties in Greece, Africa, Maldives. I mean, you're like a little bit of a one-stop shop for the beautiful.
We are. We encourage people when we go to visit. We used to do a brochure. We don't do a brochure anymore. Nobody wants a brochure, but we still do print our little client card, which is our directory. And, we encourage agents. Our favorite call, really, Angela, is, hey, Janine, or hey, Lisa, or hey, Jamie. I've got a client. They're comprised of 6 adults and there's 2 kids, and this is the kind of budget, and this is what they've done in the past. What do you have within your portfolio that might work? Those are our favorite, like, I kid you not, our favorite phone calls, because then we really get to marry what works to the right client. And
I'll do that with representation companies. I'll be like, hey, I've got a family of 20. Is there anywhere you could put them in your portfolio? So you can use them like that, people, if you're watching. I always tag the representation company when I'm booking directly, whether it's through Virtuoso or the Internova Select properties, which a lot of their hotels are part of. And then, copy her in it so she knows that you're doing it. You don't even need to involve them. Sometimes you can just copy them and then they're kind of abreast and know that you're working it with them. It becomes a partnership. And so she's one you're going to,
And we encourage clients, like we've got a lot of comments where they've said, oh, we've been to Ballyfin in Ireland, now that, and our clients had such a good experience there, they look at the portfolio and they realize it's very shoppable. And what I mean by shoppable is, while they're certainly not owned by the same people, but we try to have properties that have something special and unique so that a client could say, for the next 5 years, they could go to all of our hotels. And honestly, it would be somewhere different and unique in the world. It would be a unique experience. Nothing's homogenized. We have 3 city hotels. I mean, even in a city, hotels are different from one another. So, we do bring a lot of value as a company, and we do not grow this portfolio for the sake of growing. That's not what we do. At the end of the day, I thank all the travel advisors who logged on, because without you all, I don't have a company. If you're not booking my hotels, no one's going to hire us. So it doesn't matter that we've got a beautiful portfolio. It's how we're helping the advisor on the advisor side. They're our end goal.
Clear again with everybody that just tuned in. She's not doing the reservation. She's assisting in the reservation. So if this is all a new concept for you, she's not the DMC. She represents the DMC. Okay.
Correct. And just hit us up. We love new advisors. We will do a one-on-one. We'll go through the portfolio and we'll work it as quickly or as slowly as you need it to be. And we don't mind if you say, I just need 10 more minutes. Can you stay on with me? Can you go through this? I don't understand. We'll help you understand, because it's not just understanding the hotel, it's understanding where you're going and who it's right for and what the appeal is. And that's something so important.
Now, I think one of the first questions that we're going to have is, let's say that you're using the Safari Collection, but with the DMC that's not in your portfolio. Is that still acceptable to reach out to you and go, hey, I've got clients here with so-and-so?
100%. So, and the Safari Collection is a great one to have brought up, because they are a bespoke DMC that owns its own lodges. Now, that's going to sound familiar to those in the industry who have been around for a while, that there are bespoke operators that own their own lodges. It's a familiar statement. Safari Collection is the same, but those same operators that own their own lodges might be booking in with Safari Collection anyway. So they just happen to have this unique group of properties throughout Kenya, taking on the best of what Kenya has to offer. And you could be an operator, you could be another DMC, you could be somebody else listening from Ottawa and logging on and dealing with our contact and making a booking directly. That's the thing. We don't mind. They don't mind. They just would like you to book. That's all. And then with Safari Collection, the more you book, the better the pricing. And when you are more involved with Safari Collection directly, it's just quicker intel. It's quicker. That's all. It's that would really be your biggest difference.
Okay, talking about the Safari Collection for a minute, because that's so popular.
Yes.
What brands do they have within the Safari Collection for those who are new to?
Did you see what benefits?
No, what brand? Yeah, what hotels do they have in the Safari Collection?
Okay, so the most widely known is Giraffe Manor, and that is the one in the Karen district of Nairobi, where you are literally feeding the endangered Rothschild's giraffe from your hand, from your arm, from your mouth, if you're daring and you want that.
I couldn't do that. When I was there, I couldn't do it. I just had to do that from a distance.
So,
it was a little too close.
Well, a giraffe's tongue is about 13 inches long. It's very purple. And their breath is much less stinky than your dog's. So, it's like sandpaper. It's more like a cat. But
let's talk about the secret of Giraffe Manor, though, because it's so hard to get. I mean, because it is property, everybody wants it. Are there some? And I've heard rumors from my suppliers that you have a better chance if you book two of the collection together. Give us the secrets of how to use the Safari Collection better, because I'm a big Africa buyer. I've stayed at a lot of their properties. I love them.
Yep. So let me take the first question and then I'm going to tell you. But just so they have Giraffe Manor, they have Salah's Camp, which is down in the Mara. They have Solio, which is between Mount Kenya and the Aberdare Mountains. They have Sirawai, which is a mobile camp that's actually stationary. That's between Solio and Sasab. Sasab is up in the Northern Territories, in the Samburu with the very colorful tribe. And yes, Giraffe Manor is globally the most difficult reservation to get. There's 12 rooms. There's a main manor. There's a garden.
Out of every hotel in the world, I think it's the hardest to get.
I think it is the hardest. But, knowledge is power, Angela, and we do provide the advisors with information. And what do I mean by that? There's a great availability calendar. It's live. You can go Safari Collection availability. You could type in your parameters, and you yourself, before you've reached out to your DMC or us or Giles directly, who's our guy in London, who's dealing with all the American agents, and see what's available when. And if you've got a client who is so just like last minute, not a problem, and you notice a night in the main manor, which you can book without any restrictions, call us up, grab it. You can't make a booking, but you'll have the knowledge of knowing when you should be thinking.
Sure.
Also, good advice, never book the flights. Never, ever book the flights first. Don't come to us and say, my clients are going to be in Nairobi on September 17th. Our favorite thing is, what year? What, this year? Oh, I'm sorry.
We were really booking people like 2 years out last year. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
we want to
So,
grab it.
yes, main manor is 2 years in advance. Garden manor can be less. It could be 18, well, it could be 12 to 18 months. But again, if somebody's really flexible, you can find a space. Now, the secret is to improving your availability calendar from 6 rooms to 12 rooms, in essence, doubling, is to book at least one other Safari Collection property. And if you're booking at least one other, your availability goes from 6 rooms to 12 rooms, and it does make a difference.
So there's a secret for you that you just learned, you guys, and I learned that myself a couple of years ago. You want to get in, then you got to bundle it together. You have better opportunities, and then make sure you get Jaja on the email here.
Exactly. And we do work with the advisors on that. And there is a wait list, and we'll tell you when the wait list is realistic and when it's not. You know, we've got somebody waitlisted right now for July, and they're like 18th on the wait list. It's probably unlikely that the room will clear.
Really, seriously, because one of our clients is there and they booked 3 years ago, you know, like in 2020, we put them on the calendar. So when it was fairly
right. Advanced planning is the very best.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. That's a great tip with the Safari Collection, you guys. And again, if you're using a great DMC in Africa, combine the two together. It's gold. It's gold, gold, gold. And I think everybody that goes to Africa, like they have that vision of like wanting to stay at the Safari Collection.
At least Giraffe Manor. I think they should be staying with us at all of the lodges, because they all tell a different story and they're all in different parts of the country. So you're not being repetitive, you know, and even the style changes throughout. And up in the Northern Territories, it's Assab. They've just added the coolest thing. They did a platform on top of the Moroccan style tent. So if you want to go sleep out under the stars, you climb up to the top of your tent and there's a bed. I mean, who doesn't want to sleep under the stars? Me, I do. I want to.
Okay, let's go to, for a minute, my amazing trip to the Maldives with you guys, to Suniva, Johnny, and Fushi. Let's talk about both of those properties that are well known to be probably the #1 properties in the Maldives. And they do come with a price point.
They do.
But I don't think I've had a better stay in my life. And I was a little bit like, well, I don't know if I want to fly after a big Dubai trip. And, you know, I'm all good staying a day or two in paradise, but then I get antsy and literally I could stay
so much to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. I didn't want to leave. I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to feel being so isolated. And, you know, I've done a lot of these island things. And okay, that was just overwhelmingly amazing. So let's start with both properties, because I don't think a lot of agents even know where the Maldives are or is. And, you know, and then you've got 2 properties to work with there. So let's talk about those for a minute.
Yeah. So first of all, Maldives, I mean, the first time I went to the Maldives was 2007. And, you know, it was so, everyone talked about it for its beautiful blue sea and these ringlets, which are basically the atolls. So from the sky, the visual appeal is just unbelievable. So, but, you know, who are you pairing it with? Yes, Dubai, so easy. Sri Lanka and India, also a really easy pairing, which for me makes more sense. So many people want to add it to an African safari experience. And I think if you've got unlimited time and budget, not a problem. But there's also the flights. So if you're trying to maximize, I mean, I'd rather see folks do the Maldives, me personally, this is me personally, do the Maldives in conjunction with Dubai, Abu Dhabi, India, Sri Lanka. That would be my first choice.
Really, if you're trying to pair it with Africa, you guys, you should be looking at Seychelles or Mauritius or something along that line. You know where we're seeing a lot of people asking from though is Bali. They're doing a Bali, Singapore, Maldives combo, which is, I think, far, but that's another trendy honeymoon we've had recently. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget, Suniva has a partner. Well, it's another hotel. We have Suniva Kiri on Koh Kood Island, which is the fourth largest island in Thailand. And so there is a flight, a nonstop flight to Bangkok, a couple days a week, where you could go Malé, Bangkok, and then a quick further flight to Trot, and then a boat ride. So that's doable. But I think, if you're coming to Maldives, don't rush it. And that's a piece of advice I would give to any of your new advisors. Everyone's so like, oh, we're going to sell a honeymoon and it's going to be Italy and France and England. Like, focus on one thing, really make the experience better.
Yeah.
And I think you can do that in the Maldives as well. And Suniva Fushi and Suniva Jani could not be more different from one another. One is just more tropical and lush and beautiful grounds and gorgeous beach that goes all the way around the island. Diving that is exemplary. I don't know if you had a chance to go in the water.
Yeah, I did snorkel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's beautiful there. And it's lovely over at Suniva Jani, but Suniva Fushi just has a little bit more of a leg up. And Sonu Shivdasani, who is our owner, founder, and voice, he's based at Suniva Fushi. He lives there. I love Suniva Fushi so much. I love the glass blowing studio. I love the metalworks, which is like the hub of the recycle. And I love what they do across the portfolio with their cold rooms, with the night sky being an activity, and with their very deep dive into wellness. The Suniva Wellness Program is exemplary. Really, Suniva Soul is the name of it. It's newly branded. And the treatments and things have just been exploded, what they've done with the visiting practitioners. So it's more than just like a beautiful tropical island with bikes and, great food, by the way, and different dining outlets and different styles of food. And so each one has a commonality, but then something so different, as you know. I'd love to ask, which was your favorite? Which was your favorite of the two?
The thing is, I wondered if I was going to feel like I had a favorite, but again, they're not apples to apples. I mean, it is almost like having a totally separate vacation. And I feel like everybody should do the split and do, 4 nights one place, 4 nights another. And the other thing is the size of the villas, 3, 4 bedrooms. I mean, you can fit in a lot of people in those. I almost felt, because I was alone coming off of a Dubai group and went, I was like, wow, I almost feel like I need to have like my 4 kids here, their spouses and everybody, because it was just so much space. It was almost haunting for, to just be like in such a huge space in some of these villas. Right. And so you really bring a multi-gen family, 2 to 3 couples in a villa.
And I think that's
about the meal plan for a minute, because I think that's what's confusing for a lot of people that sell into the Maldives, is that the food's going to be so pricey that it's unaffordable.
So, for example, this summer, we have a sunset and slides offer that does include breakfast and dinner. So there's always something, and I think you can always build in a full board meal plan or a half board meal plan. But like Sunset and Slides is a great offer that has a discount and does include the breakfast and the dinner. And then there's a family program for the off season too that accommodates kids complimentary under 15. Right. So, I mean,
so if you're looking for honeymoons or awesome families, I would suggest a split stay there, just based on my own experience. Try both properties. They're so different. Food's amazing at all of them. The service is so over the top in terms of just butlers just constantly waiting on you. People, moving you from the plane to the next resort or from the boat to the snorkeling. I mean, they're just right there. You do not even have to think on this vacation whatsoever.
Yeah. But it's a
Because by the time,
humble service, right? Like
yeah,
that's what I found. It's just truly humble. The more you want them present, the more present they'll be. If you want them more in the background, they really are very good at taking the cues. And we refer
yeah,
to them as your barefoot butler.
yeah. I love that. You can be, having breakfast out on the beach. You'll meet amazing people there from Australia, from all over the world that are staying there. And so the community of people that are buying that, very amazing. I found that I just met a lot of, totally inspiring people staying there. So that's a bonus too, because it's not always just about the resort. It's about the types of people that you'll be mingling with, etc.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
let's move on to Greece for a minute. I've stayed at a lot of the Greece properties. Let's
Yeah.
talk about where you're at there and where we want to be.
Okay. Well, Greece really over the last 3 years was so super hot. It's they were welcoming to everyone, and Katakias is sort of a brand leader. They've actually been around. The Kataki Santorini has been around for 35 or so years, setting sort of the stage, the standard, and a lot of the hotels took a page from their book. The idea in Santorini is that hotels are along the caldera. They welcome families with children 13 and older. Advisor friends, please
Let's
ask us.
just make a note of that for people in the group here who haven't sold a lot of Greece. Everybody does want to stay in Ia, right up on the caldera, the big, beautiful postcard that you're
Yes,
seeing. Kids cannot stay up there. And that's what she said. A lot of times it's 13, 14. You have to check at the hotel to see what their age limit is. Some of them are 16, some of them are 18. And so you can't have a bunch of kids hanging off the side of the cliff in a dress flying.
correct.
So check that. So that's what she's addressing with that, if you're asking why. Okay, keep going.
But within the Katakis portfolio, we have a hotel for everyone. So again, this is where my company comes in really handy. So when we get an inquiry, we ask, if they're saying, which hotel should we put them at? Okay, what's their price point? Where have they been before? Are they a C and B scene? Do they like something more sublime? Do they want something totally characteristic of the caldera? Do they have children? So if
Mhm.
they have children, we accommodate them at Katkis Garden, which is a converted monastery, which is in Fira, which is
Mhm.
not on the caldera, but from our pool, you can look at the sea and you can look at the caldera. But those views are of a beautiful garden. Your rooms are internal facing. They're not a view facing in terms of the caldera. So we can answer those little questions and we can tell you if your client's a C&B scene and they legit don't care about like somebody looking to see what are you wearing, what's your jewelry like, put them at Kataki Santorini. That is the C&B scene. If they're more sublime, understated, could give a hooey, who's wearing what, who's carrying what bag, you go to Carini. It's still in Ia. Just got a private drive and no one cares. They just are there on their own, honeymooners, couples, whatever, groups of friends, more sublime. They want something totally caldera traditional with some gorgeous sunset colors. You're going to put them at Cremata in Amiravigli, slightly lower price point. Great for the 20 somethings, the kids that are 20 somethings, because they can walk to Fira. And there are some cafes and little restaurants and some really nice shopping that isn't Ia. So, we'll help guide them. And I think that that's, again, where we come in so handy. And then I will tell you, we also have Mykonos, and there's 2 in Mykonos, and our villas are family friendly. So that's not a problem. And Mykonos
Give
thinks
us
everyone
your price
thinks
point on your
Mykonos.
villa high season. Price point
Oh,
high season for the villa.
I should be better at price, Angela. I am a broad stroke. I'm going to just
Okay.
fully admit, send me an email and I'll give you a starting price
That's
range. Yeah, no, no, not
okay. That's an on the spot question.
that's
Okay,
okay.
so
That's okay.
there.
No, that's
Keep
okay.
going.
Yeah, so I think, and when you're combining the 2 islands, we give you a 10% off price immediately. And
Mhm.
when you book your activities, the wine tasting, the yacht charter, the sailing, the anything that you're doing through the Katakis Club, we have a Katakis Club. That's and and booking restaurant reservations at any of our restaurants within the hotels when you are a guest, the advisor is going to make 10% commission. So
Okay, I
why?
have a question. If I have a question, can they use other properties? So if they're staying in Fira, can they go to IA or no? Do they cross?
And they sign their name. Sign your name and room number.
And then
Yep.
you can use the other property.
You can. Yes, you can. You have
That's
signing privileges to use the spa at Carini, to dine at Botrini's, to eat at Celine, at Kachki's Garden. And our chef is Michelin, he's a Michelin starred chef who's overseeing the food. The food is remarkable throughout the portfolio, and each restaurant on the island has a different style. So they wouldn't get bored if they decided to eat every day with us.
Okay, I have another question. This is back to Africa that somebody just asked. Okay. Michael Carter is asking, how far out from departure deposits required if you're holding something for 24 in the Safari collection?
Oh, send me an email.
Yeah, I think that you do have to deposit on any of the Giraffe Manor, just from my experience.
You are depositing right away, but then there's a refundability period. There's always going to be a little fee that's taken for the admin. Safari Collection wants you to book, wants you to pay net, and we can help guide how that works. Due to some taxation laws, we need the advisors to be taking their commission on their side, and we can help you with wording, how to do it. But yeah, all of them have a pretty strict deposit and cancellation period. The whole thing.
Let's talk about your islands for a minute. You have St. Barth, did you say?
Yeah, so we have Latuani on St. Bart's, long-term partner. St. Bart's, why do you go to St. Bart's? You go for the shopping, you go for the nightlife. We are the smallest of the Virtuoso hotels on the island. And for those of you that are not consortia related, that doesn't matter. We have the JCR reward. We're always going to have some kind of an amenity for you to use if a partner is not in your particular consortia, by the way. So just always, that's another reason to hit us up, right? So Latuani has 24 swimming pools for 22 rooms and the coolest beach club, and I think the best boutique on the island. So, but you got to know who to appeal to.
Try that out.
Oh, yeah. Angela, the shopping in that boutique is so good. So good.
Okay, that's good to know. I was at the Rosewood back in the spring. Okay, where else do we have that's super sizzling in the portfolio? Anything in Europe, England, anything there?
Is that a trick question? Because everything I have is pretty sizzly. I mean, Ariel, private island, British Virgin Islands. People think immediately, well, it's a private island. I can't afford to go there. There's 3 ways you can book. You can book an exclusive use at a private island. Yeah, you can. You could book a summit, which will focus on love or wealth or different topics. And those are set weeks. Or now we have it where you could book in and book a room. And for summer, they're doing 30% off. So,
let's talk about the seasons for a minute, because I know right before we started this show today that we were talking about how, the theory is right now, or the chatter. And I've said it too. I've said it to national media multiple times this year, like, we're all sold out, stop sells on different places. We were just having that conversation that is kind of a fallacy. So I've been lying to the national stream media.
Like, I think there are parts of Italy that are difficult to secure a room. And Family Twist, they might not have availability for London or Paris, but they surely have availability in Spain. They surely have availability in Holland. And, everywhere, I think this summer, the world opened up. People are going everywhere. You're going beyond where you went for the last 3 years, whether it was domestic Mexico, Greece, the world opened up. So everywhere has space. I mean, you said you're a New Englander. We have the White Elephant on Nantucket. People just make the assumption that it is sold out. We're not sold out. And they're doing even a stay longer promotion at the White Elephant residences in Nantucket, pay 4, get 5. So,
and the reason why I say that, and this is what I'm telling the tribe here is, I raised
Yes.
my kids in New England. To get something on the Cape or Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket, you got to be like a year out. So I was really shocked when she was telling me that, because I naturally don't even assume to look for, if somebody's like, oh, I want to, go to New England, and do one of the, I'm always like, you're too late, book a year out.
Yeah.
So check
Yeah.
it, you guys, because guess what? There could be space, which I'm
There
so
could be
shocked.
space. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
that's
could be
big.
space. Bali
Yeah.
in Ireland. We don't often have space in the summer. Sheen Falls, Castle Martyr, my Irish properties, Glenapp Castle in Scotland, Grantley Hall in the UK. Actually, Grantley might be a little trickier, but my Irish and Scottish, they've got space. I think it's just always being touched. This is where, as a rep, we come in handy. Get on our newsletter, be part of what we communicate. Like today, we're sending out a really lovely specials, like we do at Festive, a summer special availability. So we're sending that out right now, today. So be on our newsletter, hit us up with an email and we'll add you to that database, and you'll get our news. We don't just send for the purpose of sending. We are actually sending valid things. Our newsletter is good. It tells a story. But then when we've got a webinar that's coming up and we're educating on something, or our specials, we'll let you know what's going on. Today's is good because it's going to cover all of the specials for summer into the early fall.
Yeah. Okay, and the website's right below us, right here on the screen. Okay, in closing, let's do some hot questions for you. Okay,
Great.
So she's not prepped or ready for any of these.
Okay, I'm terrible at pricing. I just am. I'm the broad stroke.
We're not going to ask prices. Jaja, favorite resort in your portfolio for you?
That's a trick question, Angela. Who's your favorite kid?
Won't do it. Okay.
No,
okay.
You know what it is? Every single one sings to my soul in some way. There is something so uniquely special about every single property, and it's why they're in the portfolio. So they're all my favorite.
Okay. Give us a training tip for people that are new to maybe moving up into this premium luxe space. What do you see works with like advisors who are selling a lot of these brands that you've got? I mean, they're all amazing. Like if somebody said, what's your favorite in that collection? I'd say the same thing. And they're not even my kids. I would say, are you kidding? They're all amazing. But what's a selling tip for some of these agents who haven't been able to like move up into this space, maybe because they don't know how to, or they haven't had the clients? What are you seeing that's working kind of across the board for people?
For any new advisor, it all comes down to being completely confident and not projecting your fear that something's too expensive.
Oh, I like
Never project that. So my first iteration of my career, my key account was Necker Island. I'm going to give them a shout out. 20 years of my life was spent selling Necker Island, which is what taught me to not be afraid. Because when you're selling an island, I mean, when I started, and yes, I do know the price, $5,500 a night. And when I left, it was $57,000 a night. And now it's over $100,000. But it's not being afraid. Never doubt yourself. And if I could give one piece of advice to the new advisors, first of all, get on a training with us. We will teach you how to sell. And look at yourself in the mirror and practice saying that room rate at that hotel that you're asking for is €1,000 a night. Maybe they're used to selling 250. It's €1,000 a night. That rate is going to include and run through immediately the things that are included, because people are like, wait, what did they just say? They get caught up on a price point, and then the advisor gets timid. Don't get timid. Be confident would be my number one. And also, I think that advisors try to sell too much. Figure out what you enjoy and know. And when you're confident and you've had a little experience, and who cares if it's a little experience with Disney? Let's just call it Disney, because sometimes people enter this market because they had some success selling some all-inclusives in Mexico, where they're selling Disney. That same confidence that you're using, you're just going to practice in the mirror. And quite frankly, the more expensive something is, when you start to edge up, the less the client will doubt you, believe it or not. The cheaper the price, they're going to ask you more questions. Like it's more $250 a
Yeah.
night. That's that type of traveler.
Mhm.
Yes. And I think the other thing in the don't be all things to all people, use tools. There's so many good tools. I think I'm the only rep in the industry that focuses on technology. I mean, years ago, we helped in the launch year for Access Travel App. Another shout out to a great app. But that was a technology meant to make an advisor's life easier. TrueVal. TrueVal is done for you marketing. You're good at the selling or you want to be good at the selling. Leave the marketing to someone else. Hand off those things that bog you down and give yourself some time and space to focus on what you should be focusing on, which is learning, educating yourself, and being confident with your clients. And then make sure you use Sion for your commission tracking because, gosh, you just worked so hard. That money is yours, and why shouldn't you just get it? So, I
And
think
I'm actually a user of that from the very beginning. So I'm
that's
one of the pioneer users of that.
it's an
So
amazing tool meant to
yeah,
free up an advisor to do what they're supposed to be good at doing. And, again, we'll help them. We will help we love the young advisors because you're like an open book and
I like young advisors too because I feel like they're moldable. If you take somebody that's been like 10 years somewhere else, it's kind of like teaching, new tricks or whatever, and they're a little resistant, like, well, we've been doing it this way forever, and this has worked. And I
and don't
love new advice. You can go, hey, we use Sion, and somebody just asked, can you share the tool again? And it's actually Sion. It's Sion for commission tracking.
Sion, and it's named for the founder's son, so that it
Yeah,
is Sion. Yeah, it's yeah. Someone said, "Is it commission at the end?" Commission.
it's a commission tracking tool for agencies. Um,
Yes.
I use it for my advisors. They love it. It does come with a price point though, but frankly, I love the technology of it.
Oh, and
So,
it's time saving. It's totally time saving.
so my agency definitely uses that as a host with all of our ICs. It makes it seamless on that. And we're going to circle back around and have a conversation with your husband. We're going to talk about that
Oh,
later because I think your husband does. It's really interesting in technology too.
yes.
So, okay, just wrapping up. I mean, you're amazing. Your portfolio is amazing. I don't know why it took me 20 years to get on your train. And I didn't even discover you till I was in Indonesia. And then when I looked through it, I was like, man, I've been to all of these places. You're like the gold mine of this, like putting you together with all of these properties now. That's what you guys want. You want to form this relationship with Jaja. She says it's not Janine, it's Jaja.
Janine. Jaj, J-A-J is my nickname, and it was a family name. It was not used in business till about, I don't know, 20 years ago,
You're
and then
used
it started slipping in. So Jaj of Travel is our Instagram, and I am
yeah.
Jaj, J-A-J. Don't be afraid to use that because Janine, nails on a chalkboard.
Oh, that's Nelson. And you know what? I was using that before I knew that today. So, okay.
Now
Final
you're
thoughts that you want to give the Lux tribe in here today. Final thoughts.
final thoughts. Use your tools, be confident, practice smiling, practice confidence. No question is dumb. There is not one dumb question. We love all questions and we will never roll our eyes at you. Get to know us. We like to know you. We want to take you on FAMs. If we don't know who you are, we can't take you on a FAM. We do have a good FAM survey, fill it out, engage with us, send us emails. We talk about you. When you are trying, Lisa and I, when we go to divvy up the fam invites, we're like, oh my gosh, I've heard from Mary Lou 47 times. She's trying so hard. Like, what can we do to further her education? And we actually want to do that. So, engage with us. I encourage you to engage with me and my team. We
This is what
love.
happens when you visit the property. I mean, shortly after I visited Geneva, I immediately put one on the books. Like the next honeymoon that came in, I immediately thought, hello, give that to them. And that's what you want to be doing. So anytime I quote in the Maldives or Africa or wherever, I always think like, okay, what are the properties that I love that are supporting me? I mean, you want to build a relationship with somebody and not be all over the place. You want to be strategic. I will always offer Soneva. Now, it might not always be what my client buys because of the price point,
Right.
but I'll give them this first and I'll be like, so this is my strategy, you guys. Hey, this might be a little bit out of your budget, but here's what you could be doing, because you want to give people that model home experience. And then they think like, oh, once they've seen that, then they're like, shoot, that is what I want to be doing. And, sometimes it is out of reach for people, especially younger people, but you'd be surprised. I mean, I tried that coming right off of this, visit that I made there, and we did the back-to-back. They did exactly what I told them to do, and they're going there in August. And so use a strategic selling tool with this. If you're working with the DMC in Africa, don't let him tell you what hotels you're going to use. You tell him, I want the Sephora collection. Okay.
Right. And Angela, we say that on all of our presentations. If you're using a tour operator, no problem. We won't know that you made the booking, but please insert yourself and say, I learned about this unbelievable hotel. I'd like you to put that into the proposal. Don't always be guided by the tour operator. Sometimes they're going to have great thoughts, and there's no discounting the power of using a good destination management company or a tour operator, no doubt. But if you're learning something from us and we've inspired you, please insert yourself and say, I really want you to put this hotel in that presentation that you're, preparing for me. Because I think we do sometimes get cut off at the knees, which is painful for us because we've worked so hard. And not all of, New York and Paris, we didn't even talk about our city properties, but you're not using DMC.
Let's hurry really quick. We have a few more minutes. Do you have time? Can you, let's do a in New York real quick, 2 minutes.
Well, we have two in New York. We've got the Chelsea, which is the historic hotel that dates back to 1884. You're talking screenwrites, artists, playwrights, like all kinds of actors, singers. They all used to it was like a commune. You paid for your room with your art. Lots of books have been written about it. The Sex Pistols story, Sid killed Nancy, that whole thing. So it's a really cool, vibey hotel. And we were able to take that on because one owner of the Greenwich Hotel, which is a very long time partner of ours, is a partner in that hotel. So we've got the Greenwich, which is sublime. It's Robert De Niro and his hotel partner, Ira Drucker. Ira is a part owner in the Chelsea Hotel. There's some small similarities, totally different parts. You got Tribeca, one is in Chelsea. The Greenwich is sublime. It's like a private membership club without the membership fee. No one can come in and use the courtyard or the drawing room. And then the Chelsea is so vibey and colorful and different. And
you know what's so interesting? I've met with that property before at a different show, and I had no idea that was in your portfolio until you just told me that. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, the Chelsea's new for us. Greenwich we've had for a really long time. Esprit Saint Germain in Paris, so cute, and 6th arrondissement.
And that one is so cute. So you do have some Relais and Chateau. That's a Relais and Chateau property, right? Saint Germain.
They are not Relais and Chateau, but they are Virtuoso. But we have a bevy of Relais and Chateau hotels. We love our partnership with Relais. They're great to work with, and it's a quality, a standard of food, wine, and service that people can come to expect for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Zhaj, for being here today. I thought this was really a good one, you guys, and I hope you liked it. I'm Angela Hughes. Tune in next time for all of my amazing trips and ticks. So that's what I'm saying, trips and tricks to selling more premium and luxury travel. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.